First of all, Tiffany, I just want to say thank you for taking part in this and agreeing to be part of this new featured artist interview that's taking place now with HFA. Yeah, we're excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. You're our newest member to the Artist Collective.
Yay.
Hey, and we're all very excited to have you. And I heard you had a great time at IDS.
Yes,
I
it
Yeah,
was a blast.
that's good. And I was wondering if you wanted to chat a bit about that. Did you have a chance to talk with different interior designers, and how was the vibe and how was the DJ? I wasn't even there to experience it, which is too bad, but yeah, I would love.
Yeah, sure. No, it was great. It was a really nice sort of like festive event, and the DJ was very good. And there were a few designers coming through that I got to meet, which was great. And it was kind of fun to have a demo going while they were going through, just for them to kind of learn a little bit more about my artistic process and to be able to ask questions. And it was just a really nice interactive event. Yeah.
That's good. In terms of upcoming things for yourself, I know that there is the art crawl coming.
Yes.
And I don't know what kind, um, or how about they're going about it this year? Is it the same? Are people able to go in and walk through the studios?
It's a bit of a hybrid event this year where a lot of it will be taking place online, and the team behind the Culture Call is working really hard to create sort of like virtual studio tours for the artists and promote them online. And we each kind of have our own artist page so people can go and shop the different works online that way. There's even like a tool that we're using where people can see our studio spaces all set up with the artworks and zoom into the artworks, and it's pretty cool.
Wow, that's great. So I guess if anyone wanted to come and see you,
Mhm.
they would come to your studio, which I saw you named Studio 116, and
Yes.
it's at 116 Pender,
Yes.
East Pender. Yes. Yeah. East Pender. And your dates of availability are November 15th to
12th to
the
15th.
12th to the 15th. Yes. 12th to the 15th. And then the 19th to the 22nd. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. So I'm going to get right into it with some
Okay.
questions. Um, how would you describe your art practice? And I know you have a studio, so obviously you work mostly at your studio versus at home.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I have a studio in Chinatown. I work mostly there. And I really see my art practice as a journey rooted in thoughts and nature. I really love to explore and to capture different landscapes. So for me, my artwork really is about capturing these different places that I've experienced and also the way that I personally think about them and see them, kind of my state of mind as well.
When would you say you first realized that you were a creative person, that this is kind of the path in life that you wanted to pursue?
Yeah, I have always kind of loved doing creative things and making things, whether it's crafts or painting or yeah, just I've loved that ever since I was young. So I think that I always knew that I wanted to do something creative. And I went to university for design, and I kind of did a bit of interior design and
Oh,
product and graphic design. Yeah, so I've kind of dabbled in different creative industries, but then I came back to painting about 4 years ago. And ever since then, I've kind of known that I will really want to continue on that path just because there's nothing else like it.
yeah, you know when it's your calling. So I did not know that you had that background. Do
Mhm.
you find that it's helped you with like what your process in creating a piece now? Do you have that in the back of your mind, kind of like your interior design and design background?
Oh, totally. I think that my interior design background really comes into play when I see spaces and I try to think of artwork for them. And so I have that ability to sort of picture artwork in spaces. And I also love styling things.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing some sort of photo shoot for my own artwork, which I'm actually going to be doing this week, and I'm really excited. I love kind of gathering different props and sort of staging everything and making it beautiful and highlight the artwork.
Ah, see, I definitely would think that gives you a little bit of an edge. When do you think you found your style? Because you definitely have a particular style now when we look at your pieces together as a whole.
I mean, it's a constant evolution. So I think that maybe a couple years ago, I started to kind of lean towards painting a certain way and really following my intuition and kind of letting the brush strokes be shown and paring down the landscapes to look more minimal sometimes. Um, I really love that sort of organic, free flowing look in a landscape. So I think that that's something that only really started to happen maybe 2 years ago, and it is still constantly evolving.
Nice. And do you ever work outside?
Yes, I do actually, and I love doing that. I mostly work on plein air with watercolor, and I'll bring a sketchbook and like a little travel kit, and if I go somewhere like Tofino or Whistler, I'll bring it with me, and the end result is always. I think it turns out even better than when you're painting from pictures. So.
I agree. Would you say your preference is leaning towards watercolor over oil, or is it kind of dependent on your mood or
Totally, like, I think it really depends on where I'm at in my mood, and I'm working on a collection now actually of oil paintings, and I really, although they are, mostly ink and oil, I use a lot of the techniques from my watercolors on them, and I work in really thin translucent layers, so I almost kind of see those as like, I don't know, as very connected to my watercolors just because you can kind of see some of the similarities between the 2.
yeah, fantastic. I think your pieces will work great on multiple mediums that we can print on. So, and
Oh,
I
that's
think
great
it's
to hear.
really nice to see versatile kind of style that you have between the two oils, textured, non-textured, and the watercolors. So my next one, I think this is pretty evident to most people and myself that have seen your work thus far, but it seems that you're more of an abstract artist than a representational.
Yeah, like I would definitely say that with the watercolors, they kind of are leaning more towards the abstract side, just because they are more minimal, and I kind of use colors that aren't representational of what I'm seeing in the landscape. And but at the same time, you can usually
Yes.
still tell that it's a landscape. So I would say, there's like little bits of each in most of my artwork for sure.
What would you say is your favorite color palette to work with?
Oh, I love working in jewel tone colors.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would say above all blue. I just absolutely love blue, all kinds of, dark, kind of grayish blue, or like sort of turquoisey. Yeah, so blue is and probably always will be my favorite color to work in. But I love pairing it um, with teal and some sort of like blush pink and jewel tone. Yeah.
Yes. And what would you say? Would you say that you are most creative at night, like a night owl, or would you say you're a morning person, like an early bird?
Definitely a night owl.
Mhm.
Always have been. I'm trying to make myself more of an early bird just because I think it'll be healthier and that I might be more productive overall. But so far, I'm still more creative at night.
Yeah. And you said you graduated, if I remember correctly, from Emily Carr? Was that correct?
No, I went to Concordia in Montreal.
Oh, you did. So did I.
Oh
So did
wow!
I. Maybe
Oh,
that's did you have a good time? Who did
yeah, I loved it. Yeah, it was
I had
great.
such a good time in Montreal. I think that was just even being in that city had a
Oh,
massive impact on my work
mhm.
and my style. I don't know if you found the same, but
Yeah, definitely. It was so inspiring just to see all the other there's a lot of emerging artists, there's always art shows to go to, and the museums there are amazing. So it was just super it was definitely the right place to be for,
yes. Now
yeah.
you're back in see, and it's obviously having an influence on your work, so it's
Yeah.
a great place to be for your style and your
Yeah. I
yeah.
think I'm forever bound to the coast now, just because it's a constant source of inspiration. So I feel like I always need to live close to water.
And who would you say is your favorite artist and why?
Oh, it's such a hard question.
I know.
But the ones that come to mind are Maggie Hambling, who's a British artist, and she paints seas. And her work is just, I find it so powerful and really, really strong. And there's lots of texture and movement, and um, yeah, just it's just incredible. So Maggie Hambling, and then I really love the work of William Turner as well,
I was
classic.
going to say Turner.
Yeah. And I think I really enjoy his work because it's so luminous and it's very timeless. I find, even though it's like over 200 years old, it still feels very relevant and contemporary. Like some of his sketches, they look very modern. So I just find it amazing. He's so ahead of his time.
So, on that point, do you have like a favorite artist tool or brush or any piece of memorabilia that has kind of stayed with you from the beginning till now? And if you do, is there a story attached to it and is there a reason?
I The only tool that I think I've had for a super, super long time is my watercolor set, my very first one. And it is, um, yeah, I've always kept it just because yeah, it's sentimental. Like I remember using it a long time ago, and that's kind of when I discovered, watercolor. So, um, yeah, I still use it. And I don't think if there's anything else. No, I think that's the main thing. Yeah.
Very nice. And do you think it will stay with you?
Oh yeah, I'll
Yeah.
always keep it until the wells are completely empty, and then I'll probably
Yeah.
refill it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would you say is your biggest inspiration other than nature?
um, One of my biggest inspirations is probably Gordon Smith,
Okay.
who, yeah, Vancouver artist, and I just really admire his work and his career. I just think that he was such an amazing person, and apparently he was an incredible teacher as well. And I also like to teach painting. I do some watercolor classes, and I just think that it's really fulfilling. So I love that he really prioritized both being in the community and teaching, as well as creating.
What do you find the most inspirational about teaching?
I think it's funny. It was something I kind of stumbled into. I never really thought of myself as someone who would teach. But when I tried it, I just found it really, really amazing. And I just loved the connection that comes from it. And I also found that I learned a lot from doing it,
Mhm.
a lot just like technically, but I found that I had this different type of confidence from being able to lead people through making something.
There is something really valuable and beautiful about that sharing of knowledge and seeing somebody reach their idea and their goal and seeing what it works out for seeing their process in it basically. Do you ever
Yeah.
work with children?
I have, but I would
Mhm.
say mostly maybe 20 to, 20 and up.
As one of my last questions for you, and I think this is my favorite question actually, is do you feel you have any hidden talents outside of your art? And if yes, which is the most important or exciting and the one that you're most proud of?
This is a question that you need to ask, my friends or something. 'Cause I'm like, I don't know. No, I think that one of my talents is cooking.
Oh,
Yeah, I love cooking, and I think it's just because it's another way of creative expression, kind of. Yeah, so I find that it's meditative for me, and it's really fun, and I love to kind of try out different recipes, and usually it works out pretty well. So
You are a teacher, an artist, and a cook.
yeah,
I
yeah,
Oh, that's
that's it.
fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, I don't know if you wanna share anything else with anybody who would be watching this video on our website, anything else you have coming up for yourself, any shows?
So yeah, I guess the biggest event for me is the culture crawl, which is in November, and then I'm also going to be hosting another online watercolor class. So this one is kind of special because it's specifically going to be a winter landscape for the holiday season, and I'm also going to show how to create some beautiful packaging so that it can be like a giftable painting.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah.
really exciting. I would like to check this
Oh,
out.
you should
When are
totally check it out. So it's going to be December 2nd, which is a Tuesday, and I usually do it from 7 to 9, but I'll post about it on my Instagram, which is at Tiffany Blaise Art. And I'll also be sending more info out on my newsletter, which you can sign up for on my website.
Perfect, and I hope everyone that gets to see your new work is just as excited, and it gives them some new and beautiful pieces to consider for their projects and their designs, and I hope it fulfills something that they've been looking for.
Oh, I
Uh,
hope so too.
yeah, thank you for taking the time to meet with me via a virtual space, and yeah, I guess I can wish you all the best. I don't know if there is anything else that you would like to add, but yeah.
No, I think yeah, I think that was everything. But thank you so much. And this was really fun.